there's a peculiar quiet that follows pain. That moment in the restaurant when your husband's words fell between you and your children. You would be nothing but a minimum wage hairdresser without me. The restaurant seems to freeze. Your stomach drops. In that moment, something shifted inside you. In the minutes ahead, I'll help you hear what that shift was trying to tell you, and why your inner wisdom already knows the way back to your full worth. How understanding that shift could hold the key to reclaiming your dignity, clarity, and self-worth. You can still feel how your fingers closed around your purse, the strange clarity in that moment of shock, the scrape of your chair, the burning behind your eyes as you walked out, a gesture so small, yet holding the weight of all these years. Maybe you sat in your car, hands trembling on the steering wheel. Maybe you drove in silence, your mind echoing with those words. 8 months later, you're still there, but different, cordial, but distant, managing the household, working full-time, living alongside him. Yet something fundamental has changed. The emotional bridge between you feels like it's been dismantled, piece by piece. Take a moment to notice what happens in your body when you remember that scene. Perhaps heat rises to your face again. Maybe your jaw tightens. Your breathing might become shallow. Underneath this cordial distance, there's likely a fire burning, rage at having your contributions dismissed, fury at being humiliated in front of your children. Let's pause here. What would it mean if this fire inside you had been right all along? If all that distance and anger were actually your inner wisdom trying to show you something profound about your worth? Can you sense this burning energy somewhere in your body? This righteous anger that flares when you think of him saying those words? And yet, this fire rarely shows itself directly anymore, does it? Perhaps you've noticed how your body responds when he enters a room now, a subtle tightening in your chest, the way your shoulders might straighten, or how your breathing becomes more measured, more controlled. Maybe your voice shifts into a particular tone, polite, clear, uninviting. This distance isn't just happening. Something within you is creating this space, maintaining this protective barrier. It's a sanctuary you've created. You're not just reacting anymore. You're starting to understand this protector that stepped in and what it's been guarding all this time. You're becoming more aware of the wisdom beneath the surface and how it's helping you reconnect to yourself. This sensation has a presence to it. Some might experience it as a wall of ice, cool, impenetrable, clear enough to see through, but impossible to pass. Others might sense it as a quiet sentinel, standing between your heart and potential hurt, or perhaps a diplomatic ambassador who keeps conversations practical and brief. For you, this cordial guardian might appear differently. However it appears, this presence keeps everything functioning, but permits no vulnerability, no true reconnection. However it appears for you, see if you can sense this protective presence that's been maintaining this cordial distance. Where do you feel it in your body? What image, sensation, or feeling captures its essence? But beneath its cool surface, the fire still burns. As you connect with both these energies, the burning anger and the cordial guardian, see if you can find a quiet place within that isn't completely identified with either one. This isn't easy. When you're managing the house, the cordial guardian might take over completely. When you remember his words, the fire might consume everything else. But in this moment, see if you can create just a bit of space between yourself and these images, not to push them away. They're serving an important purpose, but to see them more clearly. Notice if there's a quieter place within you that can observe what's happening inside with curiosity rather than being completely immersed in it. This observing presence is gentle, calm, curious about all the different aspects of your experience. From this more centered place, you might hear other voices inside, urgent ones, critical ones, parts of you trying to protect or direct you in different ways. You should have stood up for yourself right there in the restaurant. You need to leave him immediately. You're overreacting to one bad moment. Think about the children and what divorce would do to them. These voices have their own wisdom, but they can make it difficult to see clearly. You might acknowledge them. I hear your concerns. I know you're trying to protect me. Would you be willing to step back just for now so I can understand what's happening more deeply? Notice if these voices soften, allowing you more internal space. From this clearer place, turn your attention toward that cordial guardian that's been maintaining distance. With genuine curiosity, you might ask it, what are you protecting me from by keeping this distance? Listen for its response. Perhaps it's protecting your dignity from further diminishment. Maybe it's shielding your raw wound from being touched again. It might be preserving the last threads of your self-respect. It could be shielding your children from witnessing more conflict, or preventing you from saying things in anger you might regret. How long have you been building this wall? This wall likely didn't appear suddenly in that restaurant. Its foundations may have been laid years ago. Each time your contribution was minimized. Each time the relationship felt unbalanced. What do you fear would happen if you weren't here? The guardian might worry that without its protection, you'd be vulnerable to further humiliation, or that you'd sacrifice your worth for the sake of peace, or that your children would learn that such treatment is acceptable. Behind its cool efficiency, this guardian carries profound wisdom about boundaries, self-respect, and what you will no longer tolerate. Whatever its purpose, this protector deserves acknowledgement for how hard it's worked. It stepped forward in that moment when something fundamental broke, and it's been vigilantly maintaining this protective space ever since. You might imagine saying to it, I see how you've been keeping me safe. I understand why you've created this distance. Thank you for protecting my dignity. As you express this appreciation, notice how the protective presence responds. It might soften slightly, knowing it's been seen and understood. Or perhaps it becomes more defined, standing more confidently now that its purpose is acknowledged. If you listen even more closely, you might sense what the wall is guarding so fiercely. A softer, more vulnerable presence. The part of you that felt small in that restaurant. The one who wondered, even for a moment, is that all I am? Is that all he sees after all these years? This quiet voice might whisper of the times you felt invisible, despite all your contributions, the moments your worth has been questioned, the fear that perhaps you aren't enough despite everything you do. This tender presence deserves your compassion. It carries the weight of that humiliation, the confusion of how someone who's supposed to love you could reduce you to nothing more than an income comparison. You might gently ask this vulnerable part, what do you need right now? Perhaps it needs acknowledgement of how deeply those words cut, or reassurance that your value isn't measured by dollars, or simply the dignity of being seen in its hurt without having to pretend everything is fine. Now turn toward that burning anger that flares when you remember his words. What do you need me to hear about that moment? The anger might speak of the profound injustice. How could he define your worth by your income when you equally support the family? How dare he dismiss your career while you manage the house? What have you been carrying all these months? This fire holds the legitimate rage of being devalued, of having your contributions rendered invisible. It carries the righteous anger of being spoken to disrespectfully in front of your children. Both these energies, the protective wall and the burning anger, deserve to be heard. Both hold crucial truths about what you've experienced and what you need. As you listen to both, something subtle begins to shift. Not an abandonment of necessary boundaries, but an integration of the wall's protection and the fire's truth. Your breathing becomes deeper, your thoughts clearer. What might emerge is neither cold distance nor consuming rage, but a grounded clarity about your worth that cannot be diminished by anyone's words. You might let both these energies know, I'm not asking you to step down or disappear. I value your protection. I just want to understand you better. You might ask them, how might we work together differently? Not abandoning your wisdom, but finding a more empowered expression. The wall's ability to maintain boundaries could merge with the fire's refusal to have your worth dismissed. Instead of cordial distance or burning rage, something new might emerge. Clear-eyed strength that knows that your contributions, financial, emotional, and practical, are substantial and deserve recognition. Grounded truth that your value isn't determined by income comparisons or anyone else's assessment. This integration doesn't mean forgetting what happened or rushing toward premature forgiveness. It means moving from reactive distance to conscious choice, from cordial because I'm wounded to clear because I know my worth. As this inner conversation unfolds, you might notice a deeper groundedness emerging. From this centered place, you can honor both the protective wall that maintained your dignity and the righteous fire that knows your worth can never be defined by someone else's dismissive words. You are not simply reacting to a hurtful moment. You are listening to your deepest wisdom about what respect looks like, what partnership requires, and what example you want to set for your children. If this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to pause with me for a moment. Place your hand where you felt the strongest response in your body. Simply breathe and acknowledge whatever you discovered here. This moment of recognition, this gentle witnessing, is already part of your healing. And if you found value in this approach, consider subscribing to this channel, Healing into Wisdom. I'm Claire, and each week I'll guide you through these gentle conversations with yourself, helping you discover the quiet strength that emerges when all parts of your experience are honored and heard. Until next time, remember, when you witness all the voices within you with compassion, you reconnect with the quiet wisdom that's been guiding you all along.